this guy was trying to put a spell on me, but I think he was just waving.
The following film is intended for mature audiences and contains adult content, graphic language, graphic violence, nudity, and strong sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised. We'll leave it up to you, but you gotta know about this stuff before getting into this whole thing, you know? I mean, straight up, one guy gets his face bitten off by a raccoon, and we show it. Oh man, do we show it.
He's cool.
And he's Xanatos for the first time co-hosting with us. Kegs and Big Duke are both indisposed at the moment. Long of the short, Xanatos has been kind of helping us out for a while, and this is his first time co-hosting. What's up, brother, man? How are you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm having a good time. We gotta host a new things. People will see the opening; it'll be new. You know what else is new though? This will be the first time we'll have Chevy on. How are you doing, Chevy?
Hey man, hey guys. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Dude,
Pretty good, man.
Yeah, I'm fantastic. This is one of the highlights for me. I've been whining about this for a while. And long of the short, for people who don't understand what I'm trying to say, Chevy, who are you inside the game?
I am probably just a regular player, I would say, if I'm being humble. I'm a regular player at IA, and they have since long given me command of IA. I think it's been probably almost 1.5, 2 years, me being in IA and being in command. So I'm an old player, that's all.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that's all, but it's pretty fantastic. Who did you take command from? I didn't even know that. I thought you were the original.
No, I'm not. I was the founding members of IA were the original 6, and sadly none of them are active anymore. And the other day I was hearing Campo talk about them, and he was naming all of them. I would like to name them also.
Yeah.
It was Chop, Shadowmaker, Zigzag, K9, and DSM, and Viper X.
Wonderful.
These were the 6 main guys, and after that they just kept involving other people into command. They got the people to lead. If the ones that deserved. Even before me, there were a few, and then eventually I also got inducted. And since then, I've been here, and the rest of them probably just left.
Yeah.
I mean, left the game.
Yeah, we all have expiration dates, but honestly, brother, I've been waiting for this for a long time. It's kind of funny. I might as well talk about the elephant in the room. There's a lot of people that have harsh judgments about IA and some players and all that, but I don't understand the disconnect, because I was truly just a 20K player. I was consistent, but I never kind of understood the disconnect. So I just want to throw it out there. You've always been nice to me. I know you and Xanatos are good friends. You've flown together at least, and honestly, I don't understand where the hostility comes from. Do you have any insight to that, or do you think it's just maybe jealousy? I don't know.
I would first like to thank you for this platform that you've developed, and
my honor,
what it
brother.
does is that it brings people closer, and it brings positivity to the game.
Yes, sir.
And to the relationships within the game. So you're doing a great job. I wanted to appreciate that. But having said that, the question you asked I would like to say that I've heard a lot of versions of this, the answers to this question, and I'd like to give my own version, which is obviously going to be very honest. Everyone in IA, at least the ones who've been here for a longer time, they know the baggage that comes with being at the top. So the top. Since it's a competitive game, everybody wants to take us down. So it's like, they would take their shots at us. But what's sad is that they would go to any lengths to do that. And it's a game. It should be played as a game. But it becomes very personal for certain people, and it becomes quite ugly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's jealousy. Of course, it must be jealousy because IA has perfected. I say that very proudly that we have perfected a system in the game, which has led to our success. And many people or many squads I've seen have learned from us and probably copied that system into their squads. And so the ingredients we have, they have helped us succeed. And so people probably could not do it the way we did it, or we are doing so still at present. So they probably don't feel that comfortable around us. It's watching the same squad doing stuff over and over again and not letting anybody come in their way. Maybe people want to change the look of the top three, the podium. So maybe it's that. I don't know. But since my time in IA, I've never heard or I've never seen anybody trying to disrespect or conspire against another squad or any other player. People may have personal differences, but I've never actually heard anything in my own squad, and we never tolerated that, since our motto was, integrity over ego and no drama and no nonsense like that. So it's like our tagline. So we stood by it, and we still stand by it. So I don't know. It's just maybe a few people in the game that bring the negativity in. Otherwise, it's all cool. I mean, we've shared very good relationships with other people.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Well, unless you can interrupt me at any time, Xanatos, like if you have something. But I will say that WD was structured completely 100% the same way IA was from its origin. I didn't realize it at the time, but I mean, I quickly figured it out because I was only second in command, or somewhere around there, third. And honestly, you did, yeah. The system where you're rotating groups, stuff like this, it's brilliant. And I would say, obviously, you guys were the ones that created, kind of found out what it was. And I'll tell you a story about this. So Adriana, right? So Andrina, I should say. I think that's how you pronounce it. But she was wonderful. And I told her a story a long, long time ago when she was like a mod in Grimmies. I said the scariest part about IA was most of the time they don't say anything in game chat. You rarely hear from them on Discord till recently. You guys have kind of opened up, started having more fun, which I enjoy, but it's not nearly as scary. I thought for sure, when it was just scary, because top of the list, top of the leaderboard, and you can't reach anybody. I remember a story, for example. There was like a black book issue or something. Somebody was on the blacklist, and for the longest time, I was like, "Is there really a list?" Like, I was so curious. Like, I mean, your mind runs wild when you guys aren't talking. So you guys could be professionals. I mean, I've heard stories where you're half of you guys are developers, just nonsense. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. You've always been.
Yeah, none of us are developers or anything, and there used to be a list where people, it was like a ban list or people who were not welcomed.
Yeah.
Because they just created unnecessary drama in the squad. So we used to give them a chance, and when we used to feel that they used to disrupt the squad in one way or the other, we used to just, just for our memory, we used to create a list so we don't forget, because there are so many players in the game. They keep applying and they keep coming in and then, doing the same thing over again. So just to keep a tab at this, we created a list, and and then we realized that we should be more conducive to people. We should be more welcoming, and let's not have this negativity now. And we eliminated it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the second part, I'm sorry I have to say this, the second part of your question was interesting. See, I'll talk about myself first. You can see me in no servers. I'm nowhere. You will not see me in Grammys. You'll not see me in any other server because of the very same fact that I do not want to indulge in pointless conversations over a stupid game or a stupid match, because people start having arguments. If there was some positive thing going on, I'd like, your platform is something really positive, and I think I reached out to you.
Yes, sir.
So because I wanted to be in a part of something which is going to help. But in pointless drama, none of our commanders, you will not see Whiskey talking anywhere. You'll not see Poppy talking anywhere. You'll not see me talking anywhere. We have a couple of representatives, I would say, or commanders who do represent IEA in different servers, and even now they are very silent because we do not want to create an image which goes out wrong.
Right.
That's about it, and we stand by it. You'll not see us arguing anywhere, without a reason, which a lot of people do. So that's probably the reason you will not see us talking much.
Well,
He's Bucky out there though. He's hilarious.
yeah. Well, and the thing is too, Zan, like, so so to be clear, I'm talking when I was like a 3-month-old player and I didn't know anything, right? And now that Discord has kind of helped, and I appreciate again, the compliment of the platform. Really, this is just a group effort. Like Xanatos coming on is going to be a huge deal. Speaking of that, Xanatos is the creator of the new music. He's got several things that we're gonna basically display, but not to go too far. But when I first interviewed Xanatos, it was just myself and him, and it was really dry. And I spent most of my time talking to him about his military career, and I really didn't dig into Xanatos as the person. In fact, when he told me that he made music, it just blew my mind, and it made me realize that we don't know much about Xanatos the person. So you want to talk a little bit about your music, man, and why you started playing, Xan? Or making music, I should say.
Yeah, I've been making it for a few years. I just never really shared it. Originally, it was just sort of an outlet for myself. Like I had the gym, and that's good because you can get in there and get out some aggression and stuff like that. But you need to have some other outlets besides that. Kind of like a little bit of a balance, And so the music seemed to just kind of work. And I learned how to like mix and stuff off of like a phone app that teaches you, the basics, believe it or not. And so I don't know. I just got to making it after a while, and so I guess some of the different songs, they kind of capture different moods, different something. I don't know.
Well, you were telling me it comes to you, and you got to get it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess in a way it's the only way to really get it out, because I guess I don't know if I have the words to describe it ever, so it comes out in sound instead.
I personally, after listening to your whole album, which will be in the description, but you can find him on YouTube. Long of the short, I could feel the emotion that came out of a lot of those. So I just really appreciated finding that out about you, and I wanted to share it with everybody else. And I didn't want to take up time from Cheby's stage, say it again for me, Cheby.
Yeah, Sheby, and that's right what you said. And we can't wait to hear Zan's music. I've been waiting.
Oh man, it is really
awesome.
good. Do you have any questions, Zan?
By the way, I just wanted to throw in real quick that so I've done, I think, about 4 different wars that I've come over to IA for, between IA1 and IA2, and they're a well-oiled machine, like I had said on my last time that I was on here, and I was like, I can tell why they're at the top. Just watch them operate. Just sit there, and even as a guest, just sit on the couch and watch them do their thing, and it's pretty nice. So like that's why they're up there at the top. Absolutely, they are.
Well,
yep.
I was talking
So
the other
you
day.
have no complaints from me about it then.
Well, the other day I was in their karaoke lounge, just having a great time with them. I was on mute singing. I didn't realize I was on mute, but I was having a great time with everybody. And the thing is like, I will say this.
I remember that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I was stuck on mute, but I was singing. I was singing my terrible lungs out. But I think I scared the dog. But no, in all seriousness, like, I think a big point of this is just kind of getting to know the people behind the avatar too, and kind of with having the courage to come on here and do this, it clears up a lot of misconceptions, and that's kind of the goal. And I don't want to stick on this forever. So let me ask you this, brother: who are you outside of the game? Like, who are you in real life?
Oh well, I'm a professional in medical field in the sense that I am from the dental side of the medicine, and I'm a practicing dentist with my own practice.
Oh my God,
And,
I need you right
I
now.
run my practice. Sorry.
I need you right now. I've been sick with an abscess, so I'm dead serious.
Yeah, well,
That's funny.
Yeah, sure, whatever, man. Wherever I can help you, no problem. But I for you to get some help from me, you'll have to visit me. So sadly,
I'll hop in the
you're most
F-18.
welcome to come in.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny the timing of that. What and what else do you do?
I just run my own practice. That's about it. I mean, that's all I can do for now.
Well, you got
But,
family, or?
I live with my family, which is my 2 sons and a wife, and that's about it. I spend a good lot of time with family. There's a misconception that the game takes a lot of time from your family life and everything. I've always tried to balance that. The game, the work, and family time should all be very separate. And I've kind of probably done a good job giving each their own due time, and it works fine. I've never had any issues. Like, I've heard people complaining that the wife complains, or the family complains, or work is really tough, and I can't give time to the game. I've never felt that. I've actually done a good job compartmentalizing, and distributing the time between all these things. Family is good, and practice is good, and that's it.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. It's nothing short of a miracle that. I don't know about that, because there are some people that can manage their time. That's. I'm not gonna lie. I can't do both the podcast and fly, so I just don't have the time to do it because I work as well. So it gets tough. But I'll tell you what, man.
Of course.
It's like Xanatos was saying. He can probably give us more insight. But I mean, I've always known you were a well-oiled machine, and I've never had to fly with you guys. But what's the culture like inside of there, Xanatos? Like when you're there, or it sounds like everybody has fun and joke around, but they still have time to put up their numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any like I was only in the the general public areas, but I didn't see any issues in there at all. I've done quite a few of them over the time. I knew Chop, and I know Mirror, I guess he's not really playing much anymore either. A lot of those guys, they were all real down to earth, good people.
Yeah, man, and that's fantastic. Well, let me ask you this: since you boys have both been here long enough, what do you think about these updates and stuff? Like with the glitches. I mean, we've been dealing with it forever, but what do you think about? For example, that contract thing that they rolled out too early, and then I don't know if you guys listen to Marovich's, but
I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear Mero's podcast, but about the updates, I do have my opinion, which is, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been so long. This game has been developing and updating, but there are some simple issues which are still the same. What started as a very competitive game and very exciting, and it used to bring in the adrenaline from inside of you. There used to be an adrenaline rush, but now it's more of how to get more money out of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's so evident now, and nobody gives a damn about it because they feel fine. These guys are paying; they let them pay, and there needs to be a balance of how you improve your game. You earn a certain amount of money from these guys, but you need to be able to give them some services, or the improvements in your game need to be at par with the amount of money you're earning. But I don't see that. They just every now and then, like after every 6 months, they just throw in something like they threw in the volcano map. So just imagine there are only 3 maps in the game till date. So I mean, every now and then, if you can bring a new map, it'll just keep the game exciting. But I don't know. They just bring in useless missiles who are expensive.
Yeah, you just made me
half
snort.
of them you don't even use. Yeah, you don't even use half of the things they're giving, and obviously not giving, selling,
Right.
and and the updates. Even today, I heard a few people in the squad. They were complaining about disconnects. I mean, these problems are so basic. They need to be eliminated like forever now after 2 years. But they just keep happening. There will be glitches. There will be some signal issues for goddamn no reason.
Right.
And it just doesn't stop. And I'm still surprised. I don't know how it's still running and how they're still able to pull this off. But
It's the community.
if I were the developer,
Mm-hmm.
I would have focused more on how I should perfect the game, and then bring in new elements. But they try to do both, and they're sucking at both of them. They're trying
true.
to bring in something new, which is very slow a progress, and then the improvements in the game are close to nothing. So that's just my point of view. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Zen can say something that I don't know.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even gonna lie.
Well, I had
I'm
an
on a
idea.
sabbatical right now because of how ridiculous it's gotten.
It's gotten ridiculous, and I had an idea, but I'm sure it has to do with profits and whatever they're doing here, their business plan. But imagine if we didn't fly or get matched up by rank, but by tier level of the jet. I mean, that right there, you would still be upgrading that jet because you're going to be flying against the same players that you would be with, say, an F-18. But if we started matching and got matched up with just jets, tier levels anyway, I think that would make the game more exciting for me again. I have 13 planes, and I can only fly about 2 of them.
Yeah, or at least make that like a separate league so that, one, you can keep it as it is, but then you can also have a separate league where it's like you can go back to your, tier 2 POS and flap around in that thing.
And have fun, yeah. And it got to the
and
point...
have some fun with it.
I refused to get an alt account right up until the last, I want to say 2 weeks ago, I finally got one. And, I mean, it's not even fair. It's not fair. Like, to some of these new pilots. Yeah, I'm averaging 500 points, and I'm not even a great pilot. I mean, I'm not terrible, but I'm not great, But if they matched us up with tiers, I think that would bring something back that wouldn't even be all that hard for them to do. They don't even need new features. That would buy them time to give us new maps, and they could roll out,
right.
New stickers or whatever they want to do. But at the moment, Chevy should be back on here in just a second. There's some weird signal issues with Discord.
I'm here now.
Yeah, you're good, bud. I seen your message. It just happens. It's Discord life.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys something about
thanks
this.
for understanding. Yeah, please.
So, as far as the community dynamic goes, there's a lot of people out here, including some YouTube creators, that are fascinated by this community right here. And honestly, I am too. Why do you think it is that we stick around so long? Do you think? I don't think it's the competitive part.
Nah, it's the community part.
Yeah. Well, like, how many friends have
I
you
tend to
guys
agree.
made? You guys have made a ton of friends, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you would not believe. Obviously, I would not like to. I mean, I could name a few people, but I just generally tell you that there are people in the game who I met in the game. I've actually went on and met them in real life,
Wonderful.
and some extraordinary people. I mean, like just like brothers. I mean, they're still like my brothers. A few of them from Turkey, a few of them from Saudi, a few of them from U.S. You know, and from my own country. I mean,
Well, by the
there are
way, what
people
country are you
from
from?
my own. I am from Pakistan, and
Shut
I
it.
live here in the capital city, Islamabad, and there are quite a few players here who I, met in the game, and then we actually met. We've had a few meetings, and we still do meet. There are certain people who live nearby, and I introduced the game to a few of my real life friends, and we still enjoy the game together. I don't know if you know a few of them. Jahaz,
Yep.
he left the game, but he's still here on Discord at least. And
He's a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know him, right? So Jazzy was here. He's still playing. They're all my real life friends. So we all made like a group of people who used to meet like every fortnight or something. And then whenever I used to have a trip outside the country, I used to make sure I meet the person that I know from the game over there. So I've met quite a few and amazing people. I still share a very, very good relationship with them, very brotherly and very warm. So I completely agree with the part where it's about the community. It's not at all the competitive part or the game part. It's the relationship that we have built over this time period, and I, for one, am very thankful for it. And this is why this is the only thing I appreciate about the game.
Well, for my American brothers and sisters, a fortnight is every 2 weeks. By the way, that's it's a half joke. I'm sorry, America. I love you guys. You know that. What about you, Zane? Like, I mean, I agree with what he said, but I can tell you a little bit more. But I'm more curious why you stuck around because, like you said, you're on hiatus.
Yeah, well, it's the people here in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean,
It's yeah, it is. I mean, there's really all to be said about it. There's so many good ones. I'm not even gonna bother trying to list them all because there's tons of them.
well, and I don't think it's a secret by now, especially people that have listened to us long enough. The whole reason I'm here is simply because I fell in love with the entire community, from Bucky to Buzz, and
Yes.
it's you wake up every morning and you spend like Shaby was saying with the same people. They're your friends, and we were having these conversations. Every one of us were having conversations like this, and then just one day I was like, time capsule, right? And that brought me to meeting Kegs, after doing actually you came on one of the first ones when it was still in Grimmy's, right? And a lot of people still don't understand why I left Grimmy's to do this. Well, to me it just should be apparent by now, but I think that Grimmy's turned into something that not necessarily I was trying to do with the podcast, and I just don't think it would have worked. It would have seemed biased no matter what. Nobody would have trusted that, and that's why I didn't fly. I wasn't part of a server, and I don't know. I've been so grateful, and it's just blown my mind personally, all of us. I can talk about this. The fact that the community has latched onto this and actually had the courage to come out and tell their story and the trust that's involved. We can do this through Discord, which is wonderful, so you don't have to worry about anything like phone numbers and stuff. And there's a reason why we do this as a podcast and not a video, because there are some sick people on the internet, but for the most part, I don't think our community would be, for the most part of that. But I always like to ask people about that because this really does fascinate a lot of people, even in the gaming community. A game that most people haven't heard about, and then they hear how big it is, and then they hear the podcast, and they're like, really? And in a way, it's almost a recruitment, but it's not even for the game necessarily. It's more to get into the Discord. It's pretty interesting. But
no doubt about that. Absolutely.
Well, and I was going to ask you. I was going to ask Xanatos too. Are you having a pretty good time? Like, I want to thank you first of all too for coming on and doing this kind of on a whim. We wanted to do this with you for a long time, and I'm just glad you found some time to, start doing this with us, because it's a blast, and I'm telling you, you are always welcome to come, and you're a member for life for sure. So,
I appreciate that. Yeah, so I do right now. I'm doing a lot of telemedicine with the military, and so I'm working a lot of crazy hours. I was working on a promotion and all that stuff. So
you mentioned that. So are you okay with telling people about your promotion?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so it wasn't quite the one I had been looking for. Somebody else had got it that was just a little bit more senior, and but the fact that they noticed and they were like, well, we're still going to give you a promotion though, because, like, you know, I guess they really like me there. So I'll get that promotion, and I'll figure out how much they're offering when I get my offer letter this next week.
Wonderful.
Just kind of go from there.
Well, and you know what's...
Good luck for that, buddy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
That's exactly my situation. So with you being a dentist, Shabby, you'll understand this. I'm starting a new job Monday, and long and the short, my abscess popped up on a Friday. Well, what I've ended up doing is I had it cleaned real well, and I've stayed on top of that, and I'm also taking clindamycin. They said it was a safer alternative to just like some of the other things, and I've basically pumped myself through all of that, and it's taken the swelling down, and I'll schedule an oral surgery later, but hopefully that's a viable way to take care of it. But it looked like I had a softball on the side of my face. It was huge.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to take medicine to get rid of that abscess first, or maybe you'd have to drain it out physically.
I did. They did. Yeah.
I think that the first move is to always go for antibiotics, and that's the first step, and I think you're going in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. Well, and I'm sure everybody's fascinated to hear about my tooth. However, when you can get free dental advice, any kind of medical advice, take advantage of that. That's the human way. I was going to say the American way, but that's the human way.
I will charge you after this podcast.
I was going to say, how much do I owe you?
Right.
Dude, this has been one of the most relaxed podcasts I think I've done. I don't know if it's just the energy or what, but I mean, I've been excited since you got a hold of me. And by the way, I know we said that earlier, but Shaby got a hold of me. So, hold of us, I should say. And that's a big deal. That meant a lot to me, man. And simply because I feel like it was almost like validation, you know. It's not because you're the top team. It's simply because I guess a little bit, you know. It's hard to represent a community without having the extremes on both sides. You know what I mean? The common player, and then because really IA is virtually the closest thing we got to professionals, right? If we're being honest.
Thank you for that.
Well, if we're being honest, there's a few different teams that you could probably put in that category, but I would say IA has been at it the longest, at least. And I'm not kissing your ass. Don't get me clear. I want to be clear. But at the same time, I mean, you can't argue with.
I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And it always feels good to be recognized for something you've done. You've worked hard for. You've given a lot of effort and time and energy, and of course money.
Of course, money.
So
of course, money.
It always feels good to be recognized for it, and I appreciate that you did recognize it. And so did Zan and everybody else who does recognize it. It feels good. You're appreciated for your work.
Absolutely, and I want to be clear. Kegs and Duke both wanted to be here. Again, it's just real life stuff. Kegs works over the road, so he's spending time with the family. And then Duke is probably working on his Bronco still. That's my guess. Right now, he's got a car that's broke down. And then, of course, percussion. She never does weekends, which I don't blame her either. She's a mom, so basically, I'm the only one that doesn't have a relationship, I think. So you guys got stuck with me. Luckily, Xanatos is here to save the day. So.
Do you need advice on that also?
No, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy with who and what's going on right now. I mean, I can barely manage to do this, and I'm perfectly fine doing this on top of work. So.
Yeah, I need to say this. You're doing a great job. Like I said earlier, that I would like to appreciate. And why I got hold of you is when I heard that you're doing something like this. It was for encouragement and also recognition of what you're doing is something really positive. It helps bring, it improves the relations between players and the game, the community. So I always try to take part in such endeavors so that to encourage people to do something like that rather than sitting somewhere and cribbing about somebody else in the game. This is a great thing, and I really wish you luck. This is a good platform. You're doing a great job.
I can, for the team, I'll say thank you so much because, it means a lot to us too, I'm sure. I mean, me personally, I can talk about myself. It means a ton. I feel awkward about it. One of my first questions let me shout out, by the way, I'm going to shout out a guy that has a YouTube channel. It's called The History of Everything. He's from Australia. He's got like 25,000 subscribers. Was nice enough to talk to me, and now we talk, a little bit. But the thing is my first question to him, I said, does it ever get less awkward when someone tells you they're a fan or you did a good job? And he told me after almost 2 years of him being on that it still hasn't gotten normal. And the truth is like, I'm blessed. It's not me. I'm blessed to find the people that are coming on using their skills for free to do something that's just fun for the community. I'll be honest when I say this. The Patreon does help. It really does. We donated some to the GoFundMe for T-Mac. I hope he's doing okay. He is planning on coming on. For those that don't know, he has lung cancer, but he's had a surgery and then chemo. He's gonna kick the shit out of it, just like everything else in his life. He's a strong guy, and the biggest thing is, I almost feel like the Patreon was a mistake. And why I mean a mistake is it feels weird to take money. I mean, it feels weird to hear someone say you're doing a good job. So, I don't know. That's just me talking personally, not for the team. But like people like Xanatos, like today, coming on, not only telling me about his music, which he just said he doesn't really share, but offering it, to help the team. And he'll do more than that behind the scenes. Like we were already searching, and I think we kind of found a niche. And obviously he can co-host. So, I mean, that's how lucky I am. It's not me searching for people and begging people. People just show up, almost like destiny. It's kind of a weird thing. It's messing with my head a little bit. But
it's a positive thing. So everybody wants to come and share in that positivity.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, the community is actually a pretty wholesome place for the most part.
Yeah. Yep.
There are some people that are a little bit savage here and there. They get carried away with their memes and
they're entertaining at least. Yeah.
Ruffle some feathers and stuff like that. Those guys are, they're out there. But for the most part, the community is pretty wholesome.
Well, that's like meeting people. Like, for example, I expected Cupid to be completely different than what he really is in real life, and I'm not going to expand on that, other than he's not the devil incarnate. He's really not. And I assume the same thing for Bucky. Bucky's getting closer. If anybody could whisper to Bucky, it's okay to come on here. It really is. I just want to.
I would tell him he would, and I think he will.
That'd be awesome.
He's starting to open up to
I totally want to co-host that one too. I'll jump on here with that one.
I would love.
Sure.
Yeah, that's perfect. And that's the other thing. It's okay for people to be nervous. We've had a couple people clam up and stuff like that, but really, this is just us hanging out, and we just happen to capture the conversation. That's all it is. No show.
Yep.
For people that don't know, I'll just explain the process. So if you agree to come on, we'll set a date. You show up, and what we'll do is we'll do a pre-interview, which basically I'll ask you if there's anything you don't want to talk about or do, and we'll explain to you how we sign on and sign off, and yeah, the rest of it is just us talking. That's how simple this is, and I think that's what people are drawn to too. I mean, honest to God, it's my mental health, right, has been so much better doing this in a positive, I guess, way, doing some positive things versus, what it was when I was trying to be positive in a toxic environment, if that makes any sense. So Grimmy's 1 and 2. And the only person to blame for that is myself as well. I mean, it's just, it wasn't the right platform to try to do what we're doing right now. And I have nothing but love for Grimmy's, and I hope it stays around, because seriously, it does have its own value as well. I just, yeah, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do, of course.
Well, I can tell you this. So, if you didn't hear about the new updates, so the contract thing, they unrolled a contract thing where you could buy a contract and we'd give you so many diamonds per day, blah, blah, blah. Well, what happened was they didn't bother to tell the community mods anything about it, so they were getting questions. They had no idea. Couldn't get any response, and then apparently it didn't work, so they ended up refunding people and just taking the feature away. And it's just sad to see, because I don't think they really understand the opportunity they have with this community, because they've got to be making money hand over fist, right?
Of course.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know I'll do this with you guys whether we're here, Call of Duty, because there's a lot of players that are still in our servers, but have moved on to other games. And the thing is like, I don't want to lose touch with this community at all. And I think subconsciously, here's a little secret, I think subconsciously I knew it was, going to end sometime. Everything does. So I think I wanted these memories, and that's how selfish I am, right? So, I don't know. I've had nothing but a blast with you guys. I really have, and
Yeah,
it's an honor for you to come on, Shabby. Like, when you agreed to this, I was like, wow. And like when I seen the message, I was like, of course you can come on. What are you talking about? And there's people out there on the waiting list, for example, that have been there for a minute, and I apologize, but the waiting list is like 2 months long still, and we'll get to everybody, I promise. But in this case, I thought it was kind of. It was important that you came on, and we get this out immediately. And yeah, I like you guys said.
Thanks for having me, bud. Thanks for having me. It's the pleasure is mine.
Boy, I can't tell you how much.
And yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I can't tell you how much we all were like, this is gonna be really good, and it just happened to fall on a weird date for folks. But then, like I said, by some destiny, Xanatos got a hold of me this morning, and I was like, dude, do you want to come on? And like, yeah. So,
well, I couldn't have been happier, because that's my guy there. He's my dude. I'm happy that he's here, and to be able to share this whole thing with him is much better. So it's cool.
It really is. He's my boy too.
Yes.
By the way, like, he was one of the first one to step up and actually tell his story from only one side, because I was terrible then. But let me ask you this, Zan. Like, you said that you have a lot of kids, but you also mentioned something you were doing tonight. What were you doing just prior to this?
Yeah, I got two that are in high school going to homecoming tonight. So I was, threatening lives and setting boundaries and dropping people off and doing all the things.
Time to load the shotguns. Well,
Right.
I'll tell you what, man. I have a daughter as well, so I could hear it in your voice. But here's the thing. it's another example of what people do to sacrifice to be here. Kegs tries to tell me all the time, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, I just talk. Dude, you're pulling over on the side of the road trying to get back to your family, or I think work, really, on a Sunday. It's like the amount of sacrifice that everybody has put in just to come on, a small YouTube channel. It's not even about the YouTube channel. This is the type of people we have in this community, and if anything, I hope we get the attention of wildlife and let them know, you got your player base, and if you start treating them better, you're only going to make more money.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what to do. I don't want to abuse this, but at the same time, I really wish players that listen to this would somehow try to reach out to wildlife themselves, make them aware. And it's sad because even their own community moderators can't get a hold of them half the time. So
Yep.
it's just to the point I don't even necessarily want to an attachment to wildlife. I just want somebody to actually listen in the episodic form that this is from the beginning to here, and then maybe they can actually understand what their player base is asking for. Because why not give it to them if you can?
The term you're looking for is customer services.
Yeah, well, you know how that goes. I don't. And the thing is I don't.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I don't hate wildlife. Let me ask you guys this: have either one of you ever tried to get a refund?
I did. Yeah, I did.
I don't think I've ever had to, legitimately, but you remember when there was a big push for everybody to, ask for refunds? Somebody asked me if I was going to do that, and this was well before the podcast, and what I told them is I said, man, this community has given me more than probably what I've invested, and I've invested $2,500, which is a lot of money to some people and very little to others. But the point was, is I've never regretted this. And yeah, I think if I had to do it all over again, minus buying 13 jets on one account, I would do it again. But yeah, and
you would probably do much better because now you're experienced.
Yeah, and this second account is so cheating, man. And even if I had time to fly, I feel guilty. I do. Some of these kids that are just starting, they don't have a chance. I mean, I just, I couldn't imagine an alt account with a good player, someone like you and Zan even, because Zan would kick the shit out of me right now. I don't know. It sucks that we're forced to I've heard of stories, and I've even thought about this personally. I've thought about, playing an alt account till tier 4 and then dropping it. And I just don't understand why the devs have selected, a route to where that's more appealing than building, your higher tier plane. I just don't understand it. And I'm sure financially it makes sense. Who knows?
Yeah, well, that's a good point raised. Like I said earlier, there's so many loopholes in the game, and they're self-created loopholes. They've done this for players to take measures like that, the one that you just mentioned, dropping down after tier 4, and having noob accounts, and people have started to use them as weapons in war.
Yep.
Personally, in IA, we've experienced a lot of opponents now use junior accounts or new accounts as a big weapon against us in wars, because they can score more. The inventory is cheaper, and if you've got enough resources in a smaller account or a junior account, you tend to score a lot more than a senior account. Yeah. So it's pointless to go and keep progressing in the game, and you can always revert back to a junior account. And I know so many people now, and by the way, including myself, I have a junior account as well.
Yeah.
So I know now people are reverting to that sort of a game. So I don't know if this is a strategy by the developers or what, but these are certain things that I think probably the game it's being destroyed by these things. If they give attention to this aspect, maybe the game would be much more stable and people would stay. But I don't know what they think, how they think. It's always like I feel they're thinking more and more every day about how to extract money out of people. They would only think of any business ideas. They
Right.
would not think of any any relief for the consumer or for players. Who actually run the show. But they think of new ways how to sell stuff to us and get some. I understand this is business.
Right.
I don't say that you should not earn money, but at least like I said before, it should be at par with the services that you give.
I
So
agree.
like you said, even their own community moderators cannot reach them. I mean, this is absurd.
It is.
And a few months ago, I think Mero would remember if you ever ask him. I was in the Sky Warriors Discord server, and I was just making a fool out of myself. I was asking them to ban me.
I didn't hear about that.
Every now and then I would pop up and I'd say, "Please ban me," and everybody used to start laughing, and I kept doing that for like a few days. Then one day, Mero just asked me in the DMs, "You're like, what are you doing?" I was like, I actually want them to ban me because they've banned everybody else I know, so I'm just left out. I just want to be banned.
Yeah.
It's like you should just complain about something in the game openly,
Yeah. Well,
and and call out one of the moderators or call out one of the devs. I don't know who that guy was.
yeah.
Just call him out.
Yeah.
And I
We'll
said,
leave
"Do you
his
think
name
that
out.
will work?" And he said, "Yes, that will work."
Yeah.
And he will remember if you ever mention it to him. And I did. And they immediately banned me.
Well-
I'm still banned from Sky Warriors Discord server because I called out one of the moderators and didn't even abuse, disrespect, or curse or whatever rules they have.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned him, called him out. I said there's a problem in so and so area, and he's like banned, and that's it. And I can't access the stuff. So this is the sort of thing they do. It's like like a political thing.
Well, I'm going to put this in quotations, but you know who is awesome, and then blank. That's what I'm going to say. There are people there that I'm not sure what they're doing there. I think they've calmed down and left most of the dirty work, quote unquote, to Fox and Marrow, and it's unfortunate, man. It's so sad too because they don't understand the opportunity they have. So it is what it is. I don't want recognition from Wildlife. What I would like is them to just listen to the fucking podcast. That's it. Just listen to what your players are saying.
I'm sure they would. I'd like to assure you that the way you're going, I think it's about time. I think probably they would be listening to it, and they'll be listening to it well. And if anything, they'll be getting some ideas from this. And
Yeah.
I'm sure one of these days you'll hear from one of them at least, or maybe someone related to them.
Well, and to be clear,
I'm sure that you'll be in their eyes.
Well, and to be clear for everybody listening, I don't want a sponsorship, a partnership. This is me personally. We would have to put it to a vote, but personally, I don't want either of those. And why? Because there's going to be certain restrictions that come along with whatever agreement or proposal they provide, and that's not who I am. That's the reason why I think this works is because we're able to talk honestly, and I don't know. I'm sure there's times I should push with certain guests. I'm sure there's times that I could have done something better. Every one of us are thinking that. This is Xanatos'.
Well, I was about to offer you a sponsorship.
Oh, really? Really? Well, I'll tell you what. One Bugatti, and you got it. I'll say whatever you want. No, but
Don't push it. Don't push it.
in all seriousness, though, like with Xanatos coming on for the very first time, and this podcast being pretty significant, I think he's done a great job. And I don't know, Xan, you still there?
Zan's the man.
Man, I'm still here.
Yeah, okay. Well, anytime you got something to say, just interject. Just to be clear, because I feel like Don't worry about the fucking podcast, dude. Anything in the conversation, but we're already creeping up on 55 minutes ish. So, is there anything you guys would want to shout out or talk about real quick? Let's start with Zan.
I'm sorry, Zen, but I just wanted to mention this. I need a little time after you're done, of course. I need a little time so I can. I heard a few versions of how things started with IA. I just want to clear that part. I just need a couple of minutes for that, or maybe a few minutes. So once you're done with what you're saying, I would want some time to say what I have to say.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, that sounds really good. You can, go ahead, man. I'd like to hear this too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, please.
So,
by all means, I want to hear this.
I mean, I've been hearing a few of Cool's podcasts before, and everybody has their version of how IA actually started and what happened and this and that. So I would like to give my own honest version for this, because firsthand, I'm telling you first, I'm still here, and so I can tell you very honestly what went up at that point of time. So a few guys, the ones that I named earlier in the show, these guys were in a squad called FU or FU, as you may call it. So the problem with that squad was it was a good squad. It was a top-notch squad, and probably in the top 10 at that point of time. And but the only problem with that squad was that not everybody used to play at their potential. So the burden used to drop on a few top players, which included the ones that broke off, which were the 6 people that I mentioned, right? Chop, Zigzag, DSM, etc., right? So they broke off, and they had some argument with the commander, who himself never used to really perform or put any effort.
Yeah, we heard about
that.
that.
So when they were leaving, the commander, whose name was Apex at that time, I don't know where he is right now, but he actually said to them that, even if you guys want to go ahead and make your own squad, you won't succeed because you don't know how to run a squad. See, that line actually stayed with these guys, and they were like, oh, really? You think we can't run a squad? We'll run it better than you. And he's like, oh, go ahead and try. And that's when they decided together that they'll make a squad, and the essence of the squad, or the foundation of the squad, was this very line that this is a mutual effort squad. That's all. And after that, so these guys knew what exactly used to go wrong with all the squads that used to break up, or they used to self-destruct or whatever. So these points they had in mind, and they very delicately jot them all down and made the foundation of IA, which was it's a mutual effort squad. We don't want any drama, we don't want any nonsense, and we just want to have fun. That's all. And lastly but not least is that real life comes first. It always comes first. So it's not like we just want you to be a slave or something, or just keep performing and work your ass off in the squad. So when they started off, I mean, I was not there. I was in another squad. By the way, I was in a squad where me and Cupid started in the same squad. It was a national squad for Pakistan, and Cupid was there with me. He doesn't remember it, but I was with him, and he was the same old Cupid back then and even today. So he didn't change even a bit. So anyway, so he left that squad, and I left, and I had a very bad taste in that squad. So I felt that I wouldn't like to join any squads, because they're just a headache. Because there's no unity, people keep fighting, and for a good couple of months I was tagless. I used to play, and I used to appreciate a game, and everybody used to jump in and try to recruit me in the game chat. And I always used to respectfully decline. I don't want to be a part of any squad. But then one day, Shadowmaker, who was one of the founding members of IA, he was so humble about it. He's like, why don't you want to join the squad? And I said, because I feel it's a headache, it's a hassle, people keep fighting, I don't want to be a part of all that negativity. And he said, bro, we are a new squad. Why don't you try us? If you feel that we're also the same, you can always leave. And I was merely 15 to 20k player. And that too very difficult for me to make. I was just enjoying the game. And I told him I'm not even a good player. He's like, well, you grow with us. So see, these were the lines how he encouraged me as a junior player. And he was at that time a very senior player to me, and he was really good. And so he recruited me. I mean, he invited me, not even recruited me. He invited me, like, you come into the squad and check us out. If you feel that if you're genuine, then you can stay. If you don't, then you can always leave. It's your choice. So I really inspired by what he said, and I did join them. And since that day, I've been here because not one day did I ever see any sort of disrespect towards other people. If I'm being totally honest, there are disagreements in squads, there are problems in squads, there are fights in squads. People have different opinions. Being a multinational squad, you obviously tend to have people with language barriers and stuff like that. So yeah, it happens in squad, but not deliberately. Nobody in IA, and I respect the fact that it doesn't happen in most of the squads, but in IA specifically, I've heard versions of people where they've said that we used to go around breaking squads or conspiring against other squads to make them join us. No, we have simply inspired other people to look at how our system is working, how we generated this system. When we used to go to war with some squad, and we used to obviously beat them because we were really good. And so they used to just check us out. I mean, the lineup was so consistent. Everybody was doing their job. Like if everybody had to score 30k, you could see it in the lineup. Everybody was in 30ks. Nobody was like 2 and 3 and 6, and everybody. I mean, most of them, and the ones who didn't perform were let go of or were given an exemption if they had a real life emergency and had informed. That's it. So the people kept joining us. We never asked anybody, apart from the fact that we would recruit every now and then. But the bigger players in my presence, like Lo joined. I mean, we didn't send him any invitations. He saw a newly emerging squad, which had the potential to be glorious at the end, and he saw the opportunity. He saw the squad fit his description. He joined us, and certain very good players like him, they joined IA on their own. We never went to any squad and broke squads or made any deals with squads. No, everybody I know, I could name every one of them, have joined us only because they saw the potential, only because they saw how fair the system was. I will never say that we were perfect from the start. No, we had our own issues, but we, along the way, we improved, we made the system perfect. And now I think, like you say, it's a well-oiled machine. It's not just, words. You can see it. You just go into the squad like Zan was talking about. You go into the squad, you see it's things are moving around, people are, moving around, things are happening on their own. But in the background, there's a lot of effort that goes in. We did this with 3 squads. We are managing like 5 squads at once, including one rest squad. You think that's easy to manage? No, it's not. You cannot just sit and say, like people, I see people commenting so easily, oh, IA is, they just get the cream of the whole community. They get the best players, and then they, don't do anything. The players just perform on their own. Well, it's not so easy that the player comes in and he just starts scoring. He needs to be comfortable in the squad. He needs to be given recognition, respect, and he needs to be given good position. He needs to be told when to score and how to score and where to score. It's all planned by a group of people. And IA succeeded because it's not run by one person. It's run by a group of intelligent people. It's called a core command, which I am a part of. Today, if I stand and say, I don't want this to be done in the squad. No, that does not happen that way. There will be a good panel of people who will vote for a certain thing, and then it will be implemented. Every small little detail will be discussed, and issues will be discussed, rectified, discussed. Every morning I wake up, after my breakfast, I open my Discord, we have issues, we discuss them, we vote for them, and that's how we move forward in the day. So it's in the background, a lot of effort goes into doing what we do. It's so simple for people to think that, IA is just, just on the top, and it's just, there because they have easy wars. Well, we earned those easy wars because we made the effort. And honestly speaking, we have players who, like I said about my own self, people who can manage their time. We have people from all corners of life and all corners of the world with different professions. They manage their time. We manage our squad's time according to their time. Like, we know that certain person is from that area. He will be able to score better, like suppose a night shift. So, small things like that. We have developed those ideas, and every day we develop new ideas, and new people coming in bring new elements to the squad, and that's how it works. It's easier for everybody else to sit outside and they just say that IA is doing this wrong or doing that wrong. Well, might have done something wrong, but we've done most of the part. We've done something right. And I could say, last thing, that is, we have been the most fair squad amongst the ones I've seen. When Bro was at the top, they were the most. I respected them deeply because they were number one because of a reason. I mean, you cannot take it away from them. They were number one because they did the same sort of efforts that probably today we demand recognition for. We need respect for that, right? I respected them, and I still do, for that very reason. They were on the top because they made the effort, and even today, I would say they were the most respectful and They had the most sportsman-like behavior that I had ever seen in any squad. I mean, they were really, really graceful about it. And nowadays, it's a completely different thing. Anyway, but this whole thing that I wanted to tell you was only because just to eliminate any doubts people had about the story of IA, because everybody has given their own sort of versions, which had, broken, the story was broken here and there. So I just gave you a good timeline, and I thought you should hear it from a commander who's been here long enough, who can tell you from the start. Well, yeah, thank you for listening.
No, dude, no, that's more than fair, and I loved every second of it, just because I didn't know. I'll tell you this, before Xanatos responds, I'll tell you this. The commander that started WD recognized everything that you were talking about, and I can tell you the stress of 3 diamond squads was enough for me. That's why I left. Plus, I will tell you this. I think that having that 4 squad was a big deal, that rest squad, right? Because you don't want to lose pilots. But I'm going to give Xanatos a second to kind of end this, and yeah.
I thought that was really good. No, I'm right here. I was listening to you. Thank you for giving us the whole thing there. I think a lot of people probably didn't know a lot of that stuff.
I didn't. I didn't, bro.
Like I said before, I've flown 4 times with you guys, and you've come over and flown with us before as well. Yep. And it's always a pleasure.
Yeah,
pleasure's all mine, man.
No, in all seriousness, you rarely talk, and it's great to have this conversation, and I hope you would be willing to come back, because again, this is just an introduction. It's it may seem long, but there's so much more stuff that we can talk about, so much more, and
of course, man. Of course, I'd be happy to come back.
Thank you so much for that. Like, I guess we're about an hour and 10 minutes. That's pretty close. So I'm gonna tell you what. all my love to you, your family, even Pakistan, of course.
Thank you.
Zan, I love you as well. Thank you for coming on. And I told you, this is so much fun. I hope you come back and host when we have, whoever on. It doesn't matter. Just come back and host. I don't even have to be here, bro.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
anytime.
He's been Xanatos.
And he's been cool.
And we're out.